This is filling a doc with sheet data, and we're actually going to do this in 3 steps. First, just replacing text in a doc in place. Second, making a copy of the doc first and replacing the text in the copy. So I have a template doc, I want to copy that doc and replace the text in the copy. Finally, I have several lines of data in my sheet. I want to copy the doc for every one of them, replace the data in the copy for every one of them. So I've already done some setup. I have a folder here with the project data sheet and the proposal template. So here's my document. Here's my data. And what I want to be doing is replacing all of these markers, project name, date, name, company, proposal, location, and amount, with the data from the sheet. So let's open up the script editor and get started. Now, since we're going to do this in 3 steps, let's just go ahead and name this one first to run that first one where we're just replacing data in place. First thing, we actually want to get the document. Const doc equals DocumentApp.openById. The ID is this here. Yeah, we don't need that. Is this here between the 2 slashes after the D on the left and before the edit on the right. So I'm going to copy that, paste it here. And what we actually need is the body. So getBody. And let's call this body instead of doc for ease sake. Everything we're going to be doing here is using one very simple function, body.replaceText. Replace text takes a string that it's looking for and then a string to replace that first string with. So find this text, replace it with some other text. Okay, it's a really simple one. And the nicest thing is it actually searches the entire body. Some other functions, we have to go through every attribute or every paragraph. Here, we can just look across the entire body. Now, just to test it, I'm just going to replace it with my name. So let's look for name and replace it with Spencer. And that's exactly what it did. And if we notice, it actually keeps the same color, the same size, all the same formatting stays when we replace the text. We are just replacing text. We're not replacing formatting. Okay, but I obviously want to replace more than just name. I want to replace everything, and I want to make that a little more programmatic. So const sheet equals SpreadsheetApp.getActive.getActiveSheet. Let data equal sheet.getRange. And the range I want is this first row of data. So row 2, right? Column 1, 1 row, and we can see there's 7 columns. So row 2, column 1, 1 row, 7 columns, dot getValues. GetValues. I also want an array that I can loop through to make the replacements easier. So let replacements equals an array. And in this array, we're going to do project name, date, name, company, proposal, location, amount. Let's make sure those are all the right ones and in the right order. Project name, date, name, company, proposal, location, amount. Project name, date, name, company, proposal, location, amount. Excellent. And all with these slashes out before and after. That way it can find them uniquely. There should be no other time when / project name appears on the document. And if there is, we can be sure that's another time that it's supposed to be using the project name. So it's really simple because you don't have to worry about it finding things it shouldn't, as long as we do some sort of character before and after, or some other way to mark it. So I'm doing it this way. You can do that however. You don't have to have the special characters if you don't want. You could do it like this and get rid of those on the document as well. I like them there so I know exactly what data should be filled. Now, since I have the range, the array here and the data here in the same order, it's actually going to be pretty simple. And I would suggest setting up that way. Make sure that your data is set up in the same order as the replacements. Makes it so much easier because we can just do a for loop for let I in replacements body.replaceText. Now we're looking for whatever's in the replacements. Now we're going to replace that with data 0i. So what's going on here? Replacements is a single dimensional array. It's just an array that has various items in it. We're going to loop through all of them. And at each instance, we want to replace that. So we want to replace project name with the first element in data. Data is a two-dimensional array. So we need to do two square brackets here to find the correct index. We only have one row, so everything's going to be at row 0. And we're looking at different columns. So the column I is what's going to be iterating. So this says, for instance, if I equals 0, that's how it starts, then replacements I is project name. That's the first element. It's going to go to data, the first row, there's only one row, and the first element, which is the project name. Save that and run it. Perfect. It gave me the name, the project name, the date, the name of the requester, company name, the full overview, and the amount. Perfect. That's exactly what we want. Let's get that back to the template, version history. Yep, here's my correct one. Excellent. So that's first, is replacing it there in place. Function second. A lot of this is going to be the same, so let's actually just copy everything from first and edit from there. So the biggest thing that's going to change is instead of getting the body of this document, I want to make a copy first. I want to name it based on the project name. So I'm actually going to call it lower. I'm going to call it under data. In order to make a copy, we cannot make a copy from DocumentApp. We have to do it from DriveApp. So DriveApp.getFileById. Here we can use the same ID, right? It's still the same file. We're just accessing it a different way. getFile.byId.makeCopy. Great. That's just going to make a copy on my drive. I want it in this folder, and I want to name it according to the project name. So, make copy. We can just call it by itself. We can call it to get a destination folder. We can call it to give it a name, or we can call it to do both. I want to do both. So it first wants the name and then the destination. So for the name, I'm going to call that project proposal. And this is going to be data 0, 0. So it's going to be the first element of data. For the location, that's going to be DriveApp.getFolderById. And I want this folder. Here's the ID. Great. Now for now, let's comment all of this out and just see that it's doing that. It's making the copy. Perfect. Project proposal, tainted sunshine. Right now, obviously nothing's been replaced, so it looks exactly the same as the template. It has all of the parameters here, all of the values here that we're going to be replacing. So let's actually delete that one so we can create a new one and not be overwriting or messing with different versions. Let's uncomment this out. Now, I currently have made a copy of it, but I'm not able to do anything with that, right? I haven't set this as a variable or anything accessible. So I'm going to say let file equals this, or actually const, because that's never going to change. And then const body equals, just like above, equals DocumentApp.openById. And instead of passing a static ID like we did here, I want to get whatever copy gets made. So I'm going to do file.getId. Right? Because the file it makes is still a document. It just doesn't know that. So I need to force it to open it with the document app. Pretty simple. And then as above, getBody. Perfect. So now I'm getting the sheet. I'm getting the data from that one line of the sheet. I'm making a copy of the document. I'm then getting the ID of that copy, opening that document, and getting the body. That's going to be my body. And then same as the first one, it's just going to have this replacements array, loop through the array, replace all the text. Let's give it a try. Okay, here it is, the copy. And as hoped, it has replaced all of the form fill areas with the data from the sheet. Perfect. So that's the second one, is making a copy of a sheet and replacing the data in that copy. I want to clean that up a little bit. Now, obviously, we could shrink this a little bit. Rather than calling the sheet and then data, I could just get the range here, right? Get the values there, etc. And if I were doing this for myself, I also wouldn't do all these two calls. I would do const body equals DocumentApp.openById, and the ID would be all this .getId. Right, that's how I would do it for myself when I'm trying to save lines and don't need to keep that, but I really want to make sure we see exactly what's going on. So I'm going to have file and body, and it works just fine. Finally, function third. So here we're going to loop through all the rows, create a document for every row, or copy the template for every row, and replace the data in that copy from the values in that row. So I still want this. It's going to be the standard start. However, here we're only getting one row, right? This is row 2, column 1, number of rows 1, number of columns 7. I want all 4 rows. And let's pull all of this. Right, a lot of this is going to stay the same as we're moving between the different versions, since they're just iterating, they're building on each other. So I want to do for let I in data. Okay, because as we saw here, the first element of the two-dimensional array is the row. So I can just loop through the row and it's going to get, or I can loop through data and it's going to give me every row. Let's just show that real quick. logger.log data I 0. Always good to make sure we're at the right place. Perfect. So yeah, that's what I want. It's going to loop through each row, tainted sunshine, SSM, weekend, weeknight, and alpha 34. So it's looping through each row for me. Now for each row, I'm going to do basically all of this. So I'm going to declare some of these variables up here so that I don't have to continuously create them. I can just replace their value. So I'm going to let file body, and I'm going to create the entire replacements up here. File and body in this place, in this case, cannot be const. Const is constants. They cannot be changed. We obviously need to change each time we go to the next row. We're going to be creating new ones every time. So on each row, I want to do file equals drive app. Actually, let's just copy this because it is exactly the same. Okay, so make a new file. Great. What I want to do here, though, is I do want to change which project we're on. So instead of data 0, 0, I want to do data I 0. So it's going to go through each one and make a copy of each one and name it appropriately. Body equals, actually, since we've already shown this above, I am going to do it all at once. Body equals DocumentApp.openById. Get that, get ID. Perfect. Right, because up in the second one, we are doing them separate. Here, we're just going to do that all at once. Then we've already declared I, so I can't use I again, right? Because I have for let I in data. So for looping through the replacements, I'm going to do for let J in replacements. Body.replaceText. Ooh, it doesn't like that. We're going to try it. Body.replaceText, replacements, J, data, I, J. Okay, instead of 0, where we only had one row, here we're going to be looping through each row. So I want to get whatever row we're on and whatever column should be the replacement. Delete those. So it wasn't letting me call body.replaceText, like it wasn't autofilling that. So let's see if this is going to work or if it's going to throw an error on us. It's going to take it a little bit because it's looping through everything. Awesome, execution completed. It created all 4. Let's look at tainted sunshine. Perfect. And let's make sure it's actually getting the right data. So bring you over here. So tainted sunshine should be Dud Bolt Atlas Corp. Tainted sunshine, Dud Bolt Atlas Corp, and it's also 3/29. This is March 29. Excellent. Open up, let's just open up our last one. Alpha 34 should be 7/28 or July 28th. Tion Medon, Qlon. Alpha 34 is July 28th. Tion Medon, Qlon. Perfect. And we can see it created all 4 of them, right? Tainted Sunshine, Weeknight, SSM, and Alpha 34. So I'm not sure why it wasn't autofilling the replace text, but obviously it works to call it all at once, which is what I wanted to show here. So first, really simple, we can just loop through everything in the replacements array, replace whatever that tag is with whatever data from that row. Second, here, we first created a copy of the document and named it according to the data in that row. We got the body from that copy, and then as above, looped through all of the replacements, replacing their value in the document with whatever was in the project data. Finally, we looped through all of the rows of data, creating a copy for each, and then replacing the data in that copy. As always, thank you so much for watching. Feel free to connect with me either in the comments here or on email, my website, LinkedIn, Twitter, and I am also a Google product expert and answer a lot of questions on the forums. Please like, subscribe, share if this has been of value to you.